folks.
Welcome back to Unfiltered, a podcast by me. Our guest today is Payman. Say hi, Payman.
Hi, Payman.
Now, if you don't know Payman, or if you do, he's a Kanye and a Frank Ocean stan, like bigger than anybody that I have ever met and probably will ever meet ever. So it's pretty big deal. And obviously, with all this shit kind of going on with Kanye, a lot of controversial things being said, a lot of really weird tweets, of just dragon energy and all that kind of shit. It's been weird. Mm-hmm. It's been a weird few months. And so what I don't need you to defend Kanye, but I do want some explanation from somebody who might have a little bit of more insight than the rest of the world. As I'm I picture you sitting at home at night doing Kanye research.
That's literally what I did.
Yeah, right. It's just
right.
So I want the inside perspective, the inside scoop, basically. Like, just tell me what the fuck is going on. Just why? What am I missing from the outside here? But before we get into all the controversial stuff, I just want to talk about how you got introduced to this kind of world. Of where did you start off?
Well, I wasn't a music fan or just music diehard fan until about 3 years ago in 2015.
Okay. I
was going to school in Astoria, Oregon, and I was going through pretty bad mental illness. I had depression there. Mm-hmm. And my
Astoria is pretty shitty.
Yeah, I see you have right behind you, the Astoria Bridge.
Yes. It's a good. I got it on Fred Meyer.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And therapy was helping, but not enough, and I felt lost, or just kind of didn't know what
purpose
was going to be. Purpose. And my roommate, who is a big hip hop music just kind of person in general, he was like, listen to music, it has helped me, and if you actually listen to it, not hear it, it'll help you too.
That's a fucking line right there.
Yeah, I was like, that makes sense to me. And so he recommended me some albums, and I was just kind of on social media and seeing that a big album that was being kind of hyped up or built towards was Travis Scott's Rodeo. And to this day, that was a huge one. And to this day, I still credit that album to changing my life. And I remember I'm gonna get it tattooed soon. The exact
really,
yeah. I'm gonna get a rodeo tattoo. Yeah, I have some hip hop tattoos, and the exact moment I remember from me turning into hearing to listening was on the first song on Rodeo, Pornography, at 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Travis Scott says...
How do you know that?
It's gonna be part of the tattoo. I'll explain in a sec.
Okay.
He says, "Wake up, N-word," and it wasn't until a month ago where I was thinking, I was like, what was the moment? And I remember walking down the street, and there's that song's divided into two parts, where it's a speech or an intro, and then the beat and the actual song starts. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good line. Wake up, he says the N-word. And that was the moment I kind of just switched and associated with it. So the tattoo is going to be, it's letter number, and the letters are going to spell out rodeo, and the numbers are spelling out 231. And it's going to be in square brackets in a Helvetica font, which is how the original album cover was.
This shit?
And
what the fuck?
I really want to get it on my ankle, or it's just somewhere, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And
right here.
that was the moment, just right here.
Face tat.
Rodeo, I'm a big fan.
I kind of like the album.
And from there on, I discovered Yeezus, which is, to this day, my favorite album of all time. I have it.
Of all time?
Right, all time. Right there. That's the CD disc, and the only art on the tape on the cover is a red circle. There.
Square.
Yeah, red square. Yeah. And
shapes are hard to learn. I get it. It's a process.
I barely graduated the first grade. And that to this day is my favorite album. And then that's kind of that cemented my music taste into a dark kind of industrial hip hop brash sounds. That's always been my favorite sound. Mm-hmm. And then from there on, I just went through all of Kanye's discography, from Late Registration, College Dropout, Graduation, 808s, Dark Twisted Fantasy, everything. And I was just this is beautiful. I felt like I found a purpose to listen to music or just appreciate it.
Right.
And then so I associate Yeezus with. And around that time, I discovered Channel Orange, Frank Ocean's album, and I was just like, incredible album. And I was just like, this is beautiful too. So I listened to that, and then at that time, I was like, oh, Frank hasn't dropped anything in like 3 years. I wonder why.
Fucking typical.
Because he's just secretly does not let anyone know anything, and so I associate Yeezus and like Travis Scott's Rodeo with living in Astoria, and then I went to school in San Marcos, Texas. For about half a year. Yeah. Which is actually where Brockhampton came from.
Really?
And yeah, so I searched up their address. I lived like a 5-minute drive from them. Before they even blew up. Yeah.
Huh.
And
could you imagine?
Yeah, kind of just see Kevin or Merlin walking around now.
Right, you probably saw him at some point, and it just didn't
process, which still like shocks me. I was like, wow. And
that's so crazy.
It was insane. And after I like learned where they live, I was like, what? And even off their new album Iridescence, one of the last songs is named San Marcos because that's where they all like came together. So that was cool.
Yeah.
And so I associate Yeezus and Rodeo with Astoria. And then when I lived in San Marcos, I remember that there was a whole bunch of hype going on with Frank Ocean. He was posting stuff to Tumblr, and I was I was like, ooh, like this should be big since like he hasn't done anything in 3 years. So I started to follow it more and more. And I remember the moment, it was 2 a.m. and I was sitting in my dorm with my friend who's also a huge music nerd, and we both got a notification on our phone that said Frank Ocean has started a live stream on Apple Music. So we both looked at each other like, what the fuck? And so we grabbed our laptops and just ran to the library at 2 a.m. It was open. It's a 24-hour kind of thing.
Of course.
And so we hooked our laptops up to the TV, and for anyone that doesn't know, he released an album called Endless. It's a 45-minute long album, visual album. It's like a music video with about 16 songs the day before he dropped Blonde. And so I remember me and my friend sitting there, and the visuals on Endless, it's a black and white warehouse, completely empty. And so the actual stream itself was about 148 hours long.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, very long.
148
live
hours?
streamed the entire thing. But he wasn't playing the album. It was instrumentals and just like white noise just going. So when we first hooked it up, we were just watching a white warehouse with just like kind of slow melodic sounds. You could hear like steps or just like coughs here and
shit
there.
Going on in the background.
Yeah, so we're watching
so
like what's going on. And so that night we set up like a sleep schedule. Like he would stay awake 2 hours, I would stay awake 2 hours, and we just kind of did that. And then
that's fucking dedication.
It's because we're like, we wonder what will happen. Like we're not big fans at this point,
right?
But we're just
something enough fans that you care enough to do.
Yeah, that something will happen.
Right.
And then I remember next day we had class. So someone on the Frank Ocean subreddit set up a motion cam. So anytime something would enter the frame, we'd get a notification. So we go back on the live stream to see what's happening.
I think that's dedication to be like, oh, you take 2 hours, I take 2 hours. Setting up a fucking motion cam.
Yeah.
What the shit?
That's it's.
My God, I have people that I listen to religiously, but even then, holy shit.
It was more.
That's some real dedication.
Yeah. It was more curiosity at that point to see what is going to happen. And
right, that makes sense.
So for the next 136 hours, basically, it was just a white camera, and we got notifications here and there, but sometimes it was just glitches. And then I remember it was around a Friday, and the live stream just ended all of a sudden, and we're like, "The fuck?" I was like, "Was that it? Is that it? Nothing else is going to happen?" And then another day passed. Remember, right now it's around 8 p.m. And we get another notification that the live stream's back up again. And we're like, okay, what now? You better not dupe us again.
Right.
And so we're watching, and all of a sudden we see a black figure walk into the frame. So me and my friend are just
on edge,
watching it shake. I'm getting chills from remember this moment, what's happening?
Right.
And bringing this up. And so it zoomed in, and it's Frank. We're like, right. And then a music starts to play, and so Frank walks in, and then all of a sudden we hear music start to play, and for the first couple seconds it's it's this sound, and he comes in with that voice For 4 years we waited, and he for 4 years, and he came in with that beauty. I swear to God, me and my friend were holding each other, crying.
That's
we were just.
intense.
It was the most beautiful because it's such a like that high note just like shook us, and for the next 45 minutes he just played his album called Endless, and in the it's a visual album. He's building a staircase, and like we didn't know until about like 3 songs in where we started to see like he's literally just like cutting wood and like welding everything, and he's making like a staircase that does like a full 360 going
like a spiral.
A spiral, yeah. And at the very end, basically the entire album is building up to the very end where he plays a song called Mitsubishi Sony, and at this point, I'm gonna let this run. He's playing this, and he's taking away like all the ladders and the stilts, and he's standing at the very front of the staircase, just looking up. Me and my friend are like, "What is he about to do?"
Right.
And then he does this, and he starts walking up. Me and my friend, we're losing our shit, and he just comes in, and then his choir comes in right here. And then he gets to the very top of the staircase, and it cuts out. And we're like,
right.
Was that it?
That's like a weird acid trip.
Yeah, it's like, literally just. I think
suddenly you're sober.
And you're like,
my God,
where am I? I'm in the middle of the field.
Right.
And
how the fuck?
It ended, and we're like, what the fuck? And then we got a notification. It's like Frank Ocean's like Endless live stream is now like available after, because you can like watch it now today too. Mm-hmm. And then
linked in description.
Link in description. And then the next day, he dropped Blonde.
That's a big moment.
That album, like, I mean this in the most literal sense, it saved my life. I would not be the same person who I am right now, an idiot, if I hadn't listened to it.
I would not be a goddamn moron.
Dumbass idiot. And
dumbass idiot. This is a great combination.
I generally think this is one of the greatest like albums of the last 25 years. Because that can be like, that's, of course, music is objective, but if you're a huge music listener, you'll know what I'm talking about, because this album takes you into a whole nother world.
It really does.
Songs like, I talked about this on Dissect Podcast, and, hey Cole, and he taught...
something tells me they're not watching.
They're not watching, no. And, the songs like Nights, they describe like driving through the streets of Tokyo in like Porsches with all the neon lights, with like the wind.
So they say that, and then you think about it and you listen to the song and you're like, oh shit, that is exactly what it sounds like.
It fits the mood so perfectly that it's like, it's surreal. And then my favorite song off the album called Siegfried, I talked about this on Dissect Podcast. And
a better podcast.
A better podcast. Forget this.
Fuck this podcast.
It's what I imagine floating in space, like, and like if you're like untethered, just floating away sounds like. It's a sonic landscape. It makes you like question your like immortality or your existentialism.
Right.
And
that's
just,
some
like,
deep shit too.
It's like,
that's not something that you get.
That is like one of the few songs I've actually broken down crying to, because I recommend listening to it.
The first time that I heard. So the first time I went through the album, I kind of remember this. The first half of the album, it feels like it could be more for anyone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then you start getting into songs like that, and like even like White Ferrari, right? But those, it's like, it's not as, it's like, okay, songs on the radio, right? They all kind of sound the same. The first half of the album, you could easily put into like a very broad category.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like radio music, where it's all upbeat and fucking whatever and all that.
Easy listening.
Yeah. And then, but that second half is it's not like, I don't want to say like less like appealing, but it's like
it's harder listening, but if you actually do listen to it, it's incredible.
Right. But so the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is like, I don't like this part as much as the first part. And then I keep listening to it, and for like months, I would like turn on the album and turn on a sleep timer, and I'd fall asleep to the album and end on the same song at the same time every time. It was great, whatever. And then, but then I listened more and more to the album, and I was like, this is different, but it's a good different. So it's like, like you said, it's harder listening, but it's like, if you think about it like reading a book, like, yeah, Dr. Seuss is fucking easy to read, and it's fine, and it works.
Anyone.
Right, and it works for everybody. But then that's like, I don't even know what the fuck that would be like.
legendary books like Kill the Mockingbird, 451.
Yeah, anything like
books.
that. Yeah, things where you need to be more aware,
absorbed into the book.
Yeah, that's what that feels like.
I completely agree. And you stop. Oh, there you go.
No,
and so like in that. I think I've listened to the album all the way through every day since it came out in 2016. Like that's how much, And I have it tattooed on here. Follow my Twitter, Mute Pianos, and
plug yourself. That's
plug myself. That's where all my Frank and Kanye tweets will be anyway.
Right.
And
Instagram,
Pay_ALI. Yeah. So
there you go.
Link in description.
And
so that basically I appreciate that album more than anything else, and
so you said earlier Yeezus is your favorite album of all time.
Yeezus,
does that stand still?
Yes.
Okay.
So Yeezus is what Yeezus is a more like it fits my sound, like it's dark, abrasive, like industrial. That's what I really like when it comes to music. But then songs like Blonde is more personal, like it'll hit my like.
So would you? It's like if you're at a party, you can play Yeezus.
Blonde.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the type of party. Because if you go to a party and blast, Yeezus is like the musical like. It's if cocaine was a sound. Like that's how I can describe it.
I could agree with that.
Or like if the the Jason Statham Crank movies were into like an album. Like
it's just intense.
Brash. Like the first opening sounds, it sounds like a distorted chainsaw, and then like it just it's incredible.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of like Kanye Sins, they don't like the album. They think it's one of his worst albums. But at the same time, I feel like it's harder listening. But if you like the sounds that he makes fit like what he's also trying to say so well.
Right.
Like the drums in Black Skinhead.
That's a good song.
It's my hype up song for like when I'm working out or running, and then it's just him being angry. Cause like with Dark Twisted Fantasy, he was like, all right, I'm gonna give you my maximalist like perfection, what you want to hear, and that's like. Dark Twisted Fantasy is considered one of the best albums of the last decade. But then with Yeezus, he's like, all right, I gave you what you wanted to hear. Now I'm gonna take everything away and like dare you to try to like this.
And fuck you, give it a shot.
Fuck you, like here's what I'm gonna give you, and then
fuck you, you get what you get.
And he
fucking deal with it.
And like it's my favorite. Like personally, it's my favorite. I agree that like Twisted Fantasy might be his best album, but Yeezus is my favorite.
Right, just because it's not the best album doesn't mean it's not your favorite.
Oh no, yeah.
Right. That's that's an important thing too, and just it's just so weird that it's not weird, but he's able to go into he can fit into any genre of music basically, where it's like Black Skinhead is fucking intense and hardcore. It makes you want to fight somebody and. Like it's crazy. That's like the point. The point of the song is to hype you up. But then there's other songs like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but they're like it's so relaxed.
Like Bound 2, that's like a soul song.
Yeah,
like it's a rap soul song because there's like a Charlie Wilson I think Charlie Wilson. It has this song Bound like playing in the back, and that's a soul song.
Right.
And every time Kanye's dropped an album. He's always rebranded himself. No album is like the previous album.
Exactly. But I think that's important and people don't know that that's important. Because there's a lot of rappers that suck. Because it's the same, and like, so Suicide Boys, right? Every song that they have sounds exactly like the one before it. It might be a little bit of different beat, but it's all the same. But that's because that's what sells for them.
They're trying to
That's their thing. But after a while, it is like, okay, I don't need to hear something different from these guys, because if I want to listen to something like that, I know that I can go there and it's going to be reliable, it's going to be the same shit all the time. But to be able to take this album from Kanye and then go to this album and have a completely different day, I think that's totally unrecognized, and like I just don't think that people appreciate that as much as they should. Just on the topic of artists that can do more than one thing, Tyler, the Creator.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Fucking just all over the place.
He is.
So I've been a Tyler, the Creator fan basically since day one. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Your face. You got the sticker right there. He has the vinyl behind him.
I have 2 copies of the vinyl album. Like I
one sealed, one for listening.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it's for. I had the posters hanging up in my room that came with the album. It was my shit. Still is my shit. Love the album. It's great. But I remember how much shit he got because it's like, it's not him saying, shoot up a school, fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's deep music. It's like, it's meant to be listened to.
Yeah.
And I think that people took that the wrong way of, just because he's not making intense, hard shit, doesn't mean that it's not good. And it's not that he's a worse artist, it's character development. Think of it like a story. Like, if your character is the same person through the whole story, it's a shitty story, right?
You gotta grow.
Yes, but that's what it felt like to me. That's what Flower Boy was to me, was that was like, and like I've heard interviews of him before saying like, oh, like we made that beat for Goblin in like 15 minutes, like it's not good, I don't know why you like it so much, right? Like that's just music that he just made because it was fun and it was whatever, and it didn't matter, he could say whatever he wanted, and people went for that, of like the whole, clearly doesn't give a fuck. We'll say
offensive stuff, does not care.
Yep, doesn't care. Rape a pregnant bitch. Tell my friends I had a threesome. Just what the that's music you can't play in front of your parents.
Middle school me listening to that line was like,
oh boy, I am so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
but all those previous albums before, that's not shit that you would like play at a party.
Oh no.
Because how do you deal with that shit?
Yeah, imagine playing Yonkers at like a church or like a party.
Right? Like
Transylvania.
Yeah, my god, what
it's brash.
It's such a good song because it's so raw. Like it's not meant to be.
He's not holding back.
No, the point isn't to like dive deep into like, oh, what does that mean? Because he just tells you. There's no.
I raped a pregnant bitch and I told my friends I had a threesome.
Right. It's like a bad frat story is what it's like. Like it's just. But I think that that's so important that people recognize that just because Kanye's albums aren't all the same, just like Tyler the Creator's albums aren't all the same, that it's all different, but that's because as you move throughout life, right? Sure, like middle school me was like, oh, this shit goes hard.
Yeah, that's how it was.
And now, but even now, if I go and listen to Goblin, I'm like, damn, this still goes hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's different, but it's still like, I'm like, fuck. No wonder I like this shit so much, because it's like bangs.
Like, it's not music you'll play in a car with your friends. Like, you have to be alone, be like, okay, no one's around.
Right, that's headphone music.
Yeah, that's headphone, no one else.
That is by yourself, and like, but it's...
No judgment, yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be, like, for me, that was like, if you don't care, you should listen to this. If you're gonna get offended by everything, don't bother.
Yeah.
But then Flower Boy is like, wow. I know. That's
how I can describe the album. Wow.
Yeah, no, it really is. That was like a huge transformation in my mind of like going from, I feel like that was him, before it was him making music that he knew people would listen to. He knew people would like it because it was so different and so, like you said, it's fucking brash. It is just, it is what it is, and you can't do anything about it because that's just what it is.
Just gotta listen to it. So like it or hate it, he's gonna put out what he wants to put out.
Exactly, and I think that this wasn't. I think he knew that he was gonna get that criticism of what the fuck are you now? Like this is bullshit. Like, that's not what we want.
This is not what you are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was him going to an even more extreme length of I don't care what you fucking say. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
This is what I like. A lot of people don't realize that he's like an actual musician.
Oh yeah.
Like he is so involved in all of his songs that it's not, he doesn't have somebody making beats for him. He's playing his piano, he's doing all of it.
Everything by himself.
All of it by himself. Which I think is so, like, it makes the song feel so much more real.
Talented, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like you
exactly.
see how he, like...
Well, and like, you compare that, and like, Tyler the Creator's voice is not a singing voice. But when he sings, that's like, to me, that's like a big connection point of like, like a lot of people who sing have like that singing voice, and that's what they do. But he has this dark, deep, raspy voice, and when he sings though, it feels like it's like him by himself in the studio, like how you sing in the car. I'm not a good fucking singer, but I will scream. I will scream if I love a song. I don't fucking care.
I do that, yeah.
But that's what I feel like that whole album was it's not meant for anybody else. It's his thing. It's what he likes. That was his own album, and I think that's a really good way to look at all of Kanye's albums at the same time, though. Of it's sure there's obviously songs that people are gonna make to be on the charts, right? That's what you do. This is their livelihood. They're gonna make money. There's some songs that are supposed to appeal to everybody, right?
Frank even said the best song wasn't the single. That's
exactly it. But it's important to not, if you genuinely like music, it's important to not just listen to the most popular song.
Oh no, yeah.
Everybody listens to Nights. It's a great song.
But it could be debated as not the best song on the album.
Exactly.
I don't think it's the best song on the album.
I don't think it is either.
It's the most catchy song.
Right.
That's
exactly what I think. And then on fucking Channel Orange, it's
Thinking About You was the most popular song.
Yeah.
But it can be debated that like Bad Religion or Pyramids is the best song.
Bad Religion is my favorite song on
that. That is incredible.
It's so good.
Song, yeah.
Well, and it feels so personal, which I know is your thing with Frank Ocean, is that it's a Blonde, especially for you, is that personal feeling of it feels like he's singing for you.
For me, he guided me throughout my last 3 years.
But that's what Bad Religion. That's how I think of that.
Yeah.
That's such a. It's so personal. Just every single line just feels like you're in the cab with him. That's what it feels like. Exactly.
No constraints.
Sometimes how I think it feels like you're Frank Ocean's therapist.
Yes.
Right? It feels like the roles are reversed. Where in the sense that Frank Ocean essentially is your therapist because you relate to all the songs, you find some way to be like, oh yeah, that's this for me, right? But in the same sense, everything that he says, especially in those deep songs, is that's how you would talk to your therapist, right?
Yeah.
It's all this really deep, obviously from the heart, meaningful stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not like he's like, oh, I'm sad. Here's why. It's like it's a story, and then you are supposed to interpret it as the therapist.
Yes. However you want to interpret it.
Exactly. And I think that is it's so unique. It's such a unique genre, or not genre, but it's such a unique way to make music. You're not just singing for the popularity and for the fame, for the money, obviously, but that comes with it, and that's part of the deal. But instead of doing it just to be like, oh, I'm number 3 on the top 100, right? That's what I don't like about rappers now, is that it's just. It all sounds like the same shit. And sure, if I'm in the car with all the homies and somebody puts on a fucking Migos song or whatever,
I'll jam out.
Right. I'll fucking bang, it's fine. But it's not something that you connect with.
Yeah, connect with. No one has ever connected to One Dance or In My Feelings. No. Wow.
But that's not the point. The point of those is that they make you famous and they make you money and all that shit. But like what I talked about with JT on the last one of Astroworld compared to swimming.
Yes.
Astroworld is not personal. There's nothing on there that you and I can relate to because we're not fucking millionaires and we don't go spend money at the club and buy $1 million bottles of champagne. It's just party music. That's all it felt like.
Yeah.
Right.
It is party music.
And swimming is so emotional and it's such a story album.
Self-care or just ladders.
Exactly. And again, self-care. The most popular song on the album. Probably not the best song though. Pilot.
That blew me away.
Such a fucking good song.
I was just staring off into the distance, listening to what he's saying. I'm like,
yeah. No, it was just
his pain.
Yeah. But it's such. It takes him. That swimming takes you from the worst part of his life to what feels like the best.
Yeah.
It's but again, that feels like therapy. He's talking to you and he's like, I was drowning, but now I'm swimming, right? That's obviously, it was shitty and now it's good.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you interpret it. And then, obviously R.I.P. Mac Miller, very sad, tragic, but that's how I think of it in the sense of it's so much better when it tells the story instead of just fuck bitches get money, right?
We end on fuck bitches get money.
But so.
Put this on my story.
Yeah, go ahead. I know. It's like you're famous, right?
Podcast recording. Are you on? Is this podcast on Twitter or
I don't have any accounts for it. I'm planning on it, but I just haven't gotten to it. What's it?
That's your at, right? Griffin Amazing?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Snapchat it is. But so back to Frank just for a little bit of so Channel Orange for me, I like Channel Orange better than I like Blonde because Blonde I feel is like it's really good, but I feel like I have to pick times to listen to it.
Oh yeah.
Right? I don't want to be working and listening to Blonde because it makes me want to sit down and it makes me want to do nothing. It's kind of like I really, if I'm gonna listen to it, I feel like I need to be in and like committed to that all the way.
Like in a dark room with like headphones on and nothing distracting you.
Exactly. That's how I feel I need to listen to that album. But Channel Orange, I can listen to in the morning. I can listen to it on my drive to work, drive home from work, while I'm working, whatever. Sorry. So
We'll cut that part out.
No.
No.
Unfiltered, right? But so I just tell me about Channel. Tell me what you know about Channel Orange, because for me, I haven't. All of the songs are deep songs, and I can recognize that, and I can be like, oh, like yeah, that's obviously a deep line. It means something else. But my actual knowledge does not go that far. You know what I mean?
Personally, I like Blonde more than Channel Orange. Channel Orange hasn't had a huge emotional impact on me, but I do remember I'm like, what? It's kind of like Yeezus for me, where I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like it's not emotionally hitting me, but like I can tell the production on this and just
the
like
quality.
what he's trying to say is so good, and I just kind of discovered it through the Frank Ocean subreddit in 2015ish, and I listened to it a lot. I think my most played songs in the album had to be either Super Rich Kids, Pyramids, or Crack Rock. And
Crack Rock. That's another. For me, it's Crack Rock, Pyramids, Super Rich Kids, because I love Earl Sweatshirt.
Oh yeah. He kills. That's one of his best verses.
It is. It's just fucking insane. And that's one of the only things I've ever watched a video on of like an in-depth.
The rhyming explanation.
Yeah. Where you're just like, how do you
Caddy
think of this shit?
He just goes on.
The whole way through, and you're just like, so. I always thought it was funny because like you listen to songs and you learn songs and you start to know lyrics. That though is so hard to like.
I still can't rap it.
No. I've listened to that song countless times. So many times.
So dense.
It's so hard to just maintain and like keep up with just how that goes. Like, that's something that always was like blowing me away. Is that there's a lot of songs that are slow rapping and they're easy to remember and it's kind of shit like that. But that one, it's just constant pace and you never get to take a breath.
Oh no, yeah.
And I was like, that is just such a good song. It's so good.
And I'm gonna go and say that Super Rich Kids is my favorite song off the album because of the Dissect podcast. It gave me a new perspective. So the song is about literally super rich kids, and it's talking about like, hey, they have problems or like mental illness that no one addresses because
it seems like they have everything.
Yeah, you have all this money. How can you be sad? And
which is such a fucking ignorant question. You're rich. How can you be sad?
And like I even thought about that, like with like Spencer Junkin. Like, you know, I was like, wow, like he's rich, like he shouldn't have any problems, but he probably does. I don't know the kid personally, but he like probably does.
We don't talk very much at all, but it just is. I know, like you look at his life through like Snapchat or whatever, it's nice cars, nice houses, whatever, blah blah blah.
But what's emotionally going on?
Right, but unless you know him, that's the only thing that you would ever see.
One song off the album is saying, "Do they sew wings on tailored suits?" And the Cole Kushner Dissect podcast talks about that line for 20 minutes, saying like, if like they're in tailored suits, nice suits, but like, can they sew? Like, is there an angel watching out for them for their problems, or like, it's basically like, hey, like no one will listen to me because I'm rich and they think I'm just fine and well off, but like I'm going through the same stuff that you are, because at the end we're all humans.
Right. And everybody has fucking problems.
Blew me away the first time I like.
Well, that's so interesting that you say that, because when I listen to that song, I think about it as in terms of like these kids who have all this opportunity, and they get this opportunity and all this kind of stuff, and not all of them take that opportunity. When you're born into a family like that, like my family, we're not rich, right? We're fine. We live in Sherwood. It's fine. We're doing fine. But my parents gave me more opportunity than I know some kids got.
Yeah.
Like, they paid for my first year of college, which I didn't even go back to finish.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, but like all that kind of shit, I think that the super rich kids, right, all of them, it's so much easier for them early to be like, I don't need to do anything. Obviously, I got everything for me is covered, right? But then that song is like, it takes that idea of like, oh, whatever, it's fine. My parents have money. I don't need to do anything. I'll be taken care of. And then it is like, for me, it's like, but later down the road, when shit starts going wrong and you stop getting your monthly $1 trillion, like it's like,
who's gonna be there for me?
Exactly. But that's how I think of those rich kid problems. It's like when you just have this mindset of, oh, everything's gonna be fine, right? But when shit isn't fine, how do you handle that?
Like, you can't use money to solve depression.
Exactly.
Like, it's sure therapy, but like it's all in you.
Exactly. But I think that's such an important thing to be like. They have problems too. They might be different problems, but everybody has problems.
Oh, yeah.
Rich kids, poor kids, regular kids. Everybody has issues, and that song is like such like, unless you really listen to it, it will just seem as if they're making fun of rich kids.
Yeah.
Right. Too many joyrides in Daddy's Jaguar. Yeah. My dad doesn't have a fucking
fantastic.
Jaguar.
Yeah.
Right. That sounds awesome. Oh darn, that's your problem. Too many joyrides.
Yeah.
But that's not what he's saying.
But like, yeah, like do joyrides take those joyrides every day, it's gonna become boring after a while. Like, go do these rich, like, go boating with your friends, do all these rich stuff. But after a while, like, it's who you.
After a while, it's about human connection.
Oh yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, which I just it's so much deeper than it seems.
Think of that, I was like, all right, Frank's like done a genius. Just to even think of that, it's such on a deep level that most people do not think of.
Right. Well, so do you ever think that when he writes it, it's not that? Do you ever does that thought ever come into your mind of these guys who do this Dissect podcast? It's just their perception.
Yeah.
Right. But do you ever think that Frank is at home listening, being like, these fucking idiots? That's not what it is at all.
They're they're digging way too deep in. Like,
right, where it's like, how could you this is all inference. You can't possibly be for sure that that's what that means. But do you think that, like, when he writes, do you think it's meant to be dissected?
How dissected, yeah. There's certain songs where I'm like, okay, like, that's obviously what he was trying to say, but like on Super Rich Kids, like, maybe he was making fun of like the rich kids, but there's so many lines that have like connections to each other line that I'm like, okay, this is obviously what he's talking about. It's not not like a coincidence that he's just trying to do this. Like, there's obviously a message that he's trying to get across. Right.
Which I think that's a weird thing to think about in the fact that somebody could write a fake deep song and then it gets dissected and people are like, holy shit. Right? But that guy could be saying, oh, you fucking idiot.
Like, it's just like, I wrote this in 5 minutes. Like, it's not,
That's my, not like fear, but that's my fear of like all those kind of songs where like it really hits hard and you're like, damn, like that is just like it's almost too specific to be like, well, yeah, like that was the intent to make this very exact point where it's like when people really get into it on that podcast, it's like you can listen to that and be like, yeah, like when you like if you don't think about that too much, like yeah, all that shit connects, it all makes sense. But then like for me at least, that thought comes into my mind of how true is that
deep should we get?
How deep is too deep? Where it's like, where do you draw the line between shit that, this line and this line, oh, fuck, right?
Yeah.
But then instead of like diving, like a bad example, like not a real example is like looking at each letter instead of looking at the seconds, right? Like that.
You're like, what did this letter mean? Yeah, just
right.
Like take it a bit below the surface level, and that should be fine.
Right.
Like, do not go all the way down where you're like each word could be connected to this previous like line.
Right. What I don't want out of that is for them to be like, oh, this happened when Frank Ocean was 6 years old because we did this crazy amount of background research, and that one thing kind of relates to this thing.
Yeah, it's
that.
That's
I think that's just pointless. Of like
he obviously
it makes for good
wasn't.
content.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's just too far.
Yeah, he obviously wasn't thinking of that when he was writing it.
Right. So, controversial Kanye stuff is really controversial to talk about. It's kind of the problem.
I completely agree.
Because there's been a lot of things that you said, and like okay, here's the thing. I don't hate Kanye. I don't. I think that everybody is entitled to their own thoughts, and they can say whatever they want. Say it on whatever platform you want. But when you are as influential as that, and you have 26 million fucking followers on Twitter, I feel like, and I know that, of course, like the mental illness stuff is all involved and like all this kind of stuff, but I still feel like when you have this much influence on the world,
you need to be careful.
You have to watch what you say, because there can be things that can be taken so wrong if you tweet something, or like, okay, so let's start with the picture with the MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Right? That is not great.
No.
And fuck Donald Trump.
No, yeah, I am not like, fuck Trump.
Fuck Trump. Everything that he does is terrible and wrong, and I hate him. It's awful.
Yeah.
But for Kanye to go on Twitter and put a picture of him with a MAGA hat on, it's just like it
makes you go, a lot of his fans.
Yeah. It was a huge deal for weeks.
I remember the moments like where there was a video on Twitter where he's like, he was at the St. Pablo tour in 2016. He was like, if I would have voted, I would have voted for Trump. And you just hear a collective boo from the audience.
Yeah, because it's such an unpopular opinion. And he's as a black man, you would have thought that nope. Like, right, like, but I don't want it to be stereotypical, be like, oh yeah, obviously every black person hates Trump. Because that's not how the world works.
Not all black people are Democrats. Like, that's the thing. But like, it's common because they are kind of disintegrated. They're so
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's like they are a minority because they're so it starts with D. It's not in my head.
I don't know. Fuck. Anyway, yeah. But it's
comment below.
Right. Tell me what the word is.
What the word is.
But like, do you have a reason for that? Is there? I mean, like, as knowing as much as you know, is there a thing that you can be like, oh, well, he did that because this other thing? Is there a thing for that?
Yes.
Okay. Please do tell. Please share.
So Kanye, we have to start a bit earlier. So Kanye, growing up, his mother, Donda West, always taught him like. A lot of parents are like, oh, that's an unrealistic dream that you have. Like, go, like, do this. Be like a STEM major, stuff like that.
Right.
Kanye's mother was always like, whatever you want to do, you can be the best at it.
Super supportive.
Super supportive all the way. It is like, if you want to be the best, like...
Do you think that attributes to... I mean, he has his
God complex.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going into.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
He's egotistic, which I'm egotistic. I am way overly confident in my abilities in every sense, right? This could be awful, and I'd be like, this is fucking
killer.
This is
the best podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And I, like, that's the kind of person I am, though, but I feel like he has taken that so, like, it really is, like, implanted in his head. Yeah. Where it's like, I think that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole God complex thing is, I think, allows him to say this shit and him being like, what are you gonna do? Right? So does that, you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? If I say I love Trump, what are you gonna fucking do? I'm better than everybody. Eat dicks.
Yeah.
Right.
It's definitely like, and I feel like you do have to have an amount of self-awareness where you're like, hey, like, I'm gonna say whatever I want, but at the same time, I need to realize what I'm saying can hurt other people.
Exactly.
Like, that is what every human needs to have.
Everybody should be aware that, freedom of speech, absolutely. Yeah. But don't be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick. Don't slander other people. It just...
Like, you can get arrested for saying whatever you want, but people will hate you if a whole society collectively is like, what you're saying is wrong.
If you say something against societal norms, what do you expect is going to happen? It doesn't matter who the fuck you are. If you say something that is generally thought as a terrible statement, there's obviously going to be some pushback.
Yeah.
So, okay, but so explain to me the MAGA hat.
So, well, first we're gonna have to, this kind of ties in.
His mom was
growing up was like, you can do whatever you want, and that led him to like, that led him to being like, yes, I can do whatever I want, and like, I will do whatever I want to put my heart into. That's why, like, when he was in middle school, he was always a singer. He was like, I'm the best. And like, when he first signed with his first record label, without any albums or just singles at all, he was like, I'm the best producer, I'm the best rapper. And everyone around him was like, you have nothing to show for it. Like, how are you saying this? And,
fucking prove it, dude.
He proved it. He was one of the most legendary producers. Yeah.
Here we are. And Kanye
Politics aside, if you know anything about music, you will know that Kanye is a fantastic, phenomenal producer. and that's just like it's a fact.
The studio quality of it doesn't matter what the lyrics are, but for somebody, just everything that he makes is professional. There's nothing you can obviously tell. Nothing was thrown together. He will take his time and do whatever the hell he wants to do.
Yeah.
And if he will not stop until it's good enough for him.
Yes.
Right. He's not going to settle for anything that's like, oh yeah, like not my best song, but
no,
every song is going to be his
maximize perfection. And so yeah, growing up like he was like
maximize. It's not maximal.
Oh, maximal. Yeah, like
maximalize. I don't think that's
a word. No. Comment below if it's a word.
And give this video a like if it's a word.
Give this video a like if it's not a word. And then so like and he's never been afraid to say what he's thought of, which I respect as a human. And
right. So
that's why
let me tell a story real quick about that, because this happened to me yesterday. Hannah and I went to Panda Express, and this guy there, he gets his food, whatever, and they're giving him orange chicken, and he goes, "Can I have more orange chicken?" And I was like, I fucking love Panda Express.
Oh yeah.
And there's been so many times where I go, fuck, really? That's it? That's all you're giving me? But of course, I wouldn't ever say anything because that's just not the kind of person I am. So this guy goes, "Can I have more orange chicken?" And I was like, the fucking balls.
Yeah.
And he turned out later he was a total dick, and it turned into this thing of they're giving him shrimp. He's like, "Can I have more shrimp?" They're like, "Oh, we're only allowed to give you 7 pieces." He's like, "Oh wow, you count the pieces? Well, shit, my bad." And I was this fucking close to turning into that. I know, just being like, dude.
They're workers.
Fuck you. They don't make the rules. What the fuck is your problem? What makes you think that you get?
I deserve more chicken.
Yeah. No, fuck you. Fuck off. Get out of the fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
God, but the whole thing of people saying whatever they want. I think that there's a line that cannot be crossed.
Yeah. There's like it's like, where is it where you're confident and where you're an asshole?
Right. Like, I feel like I teeter on that line a lot. Because I say some shit where I'm like,
people who are confident do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I agree.
And I think that is part of Kanye's problem, is that he doesn't recognize the line. like the line between, sure, have whatever political views you want, but maybe don't go out and shout it at the top of your lungs. Right? Like that's the line. And like that's like Twitter essentially is shouting at the top of your lungs because 26 million people are listening to you. Right?
That's the basis, yeah.
And that 26 million, if you don't include who retweets it, and other people see it. I don't follow Kanye. I see every one of his tweets because you fucking retweet it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, yeah. But it's just like when you have that size of an audience, you have to know. Be careful. You need to know the line between confident and too far.
It's not even like we're trying to bring you down. It's like hey, be socially aware.
Yes.
Of what you are trying to say.
Sorry. Continue with the MAGA hat though. Tell me. So
we're at the VMAs now, where he interrupted Taylor Swift.
Iconic, love it.
Such a great one because Beyonce did deserve the album of the year, and like Taylor Swift is just a pop industry plant. Just keep on making.
She is radio music. That is the epitome of shitty radio music that my fucking
everyone's like, album
sister will listen to, and it just is. It means nothing. It's fake deep.
Just because it has more sales doesn't mean it's a better album. Like, boom, there we go.
Yes.
Like Scorpion dropped and that had like hella sales, and like but you can't be like this is the best album of the year. Like
because the most people bought it. Yeah, because there's more fucking
like so
teenage girls that are gonna buy that album.
Yeah, like so far I believe like Denzel Curry's like Taboo or like even like Brockhampton's Iridescence are so far like album of the year for me. Just because like some of them or like Astroworld even because the quality is so
is what matters.
It's Drake makes hip hop. That's how I've always described it. It's hip hop.
Fucking so true.
For the radio, like he's just trying to be like, I'll give you one. He makes vague songs about girls, so every girl feel like, oh, this is about me.
Oh, heartbreak. Oh,
yeah. It's like, oh, wow, you have like he's talking. He's like, oh, like I just want a girl who has like 5 fingers on each hand. I'm like, oh, that's me. Boom, sales. Boom, sales. Just
right.
Yeah, hip hop, which is the perfect way to describe.
I hate that about the music now is that it feels like it's all for the money. Yes. Show me what the fuck is up.
So, and then like at the VMAs, like he said all that, and then that kind of we've learned like he's not afraid to speak his mind. And then, yeah, obviously. And then so that goes on. So why I think personally Kanye supports Trump is because both Kanye and Trump are two people that have never been afraid to speak their minds. They have always said...
Right, and I hate Donald Trump as a president and as a person, but I respect his business.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the way that he makes money is fucking insane.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything, okay, in that sense of that they're both the same person as very confident, egotistic, dominant male people who they know what they want, they will do what they do to get what they want, right? And it's, as from somebody who wants to make money, to look at Donald Trump and his success, not as a person and not as his political views, but as his success is astounding. It's astounding what he has done.
It's
the empire that he has built.
Humongous gold buildings in like so many countries.
Yes, and it's insane. But okay, real backtrack a little bit. Do you think that Kanye actually supports Trump?
I don't think he supports his his certain views, because at the same time, if you see who Kanye is following on Twitter, he's also following Bernie Sanders. He's also following Hillary Clinton.
Right.
He's following these.
So it's not that Kanye wants to build the wall, and it's not all that kind of shit. But he supports Trump in the sense that he can relate to Trump.
Yeah.
It's not about political views.
That's what I
see,
exactly
and that's
think it is.
That's the thing that is not communicated.
Misconstrued about on Twitter or everywhere.
And which is, I think, is important for people to realize is that Kanye doesn't endorse all these shitty things about immigration laws and all that kind of shit. That's not what he's supporting. He's supporting somebody who he relates to in the sense of, if I was president, I would be doing things different, but in the same way of that I don't care. This is what I think is right. This is what I want to do. Everything that Donald Trump does, I think is wrong. But the way that he sees it is that I think this is what we should do. I'm doing it. Fuck you, I don't care. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So it's not about the political views. It's about how he is it like that he likes the way he gets things done. The process. It's so hard to understand to be like, he supports him, but he doesn't support him.
Because the only information I have on like the Kanye and Trump thing is what he's tweeted and what we have found out through interviews with Jimmy, is either Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon, just interviews
They're all
like
the same.
that. They both look same too, and
identical.
And so that's all we found out. So we don't know a deeper layer. Kanye hasn't written articles on it,
right?
And
which I think is a thing that he should take advantage of. And
explaining himself.
I get I don't want to explain myself because I don't need to. I don't need to explain anything to anybody. I can say whatever I want and it doesn't matter. But going back to being such a public and influential figure,
for his fans, he should do it.
Exactly. For you, because I can't imagine the kind of
the shit
behind the back hate that you get.
Yeah.
For loving Kanye the way that you do, because of the shit that he said.
I support.
It would be so much better for you and all of his other real fans to be like, fuck, finally.
Yeah,
here's why.
A scroll with me all the time.
Right.
And going on to that, with the mental, with the slavery thing he said. Slavery was a choice. He was trying to say mental slavery was a choice. Mental slavery.
But so why does it come out as so
I don't know, because he's a dumbass in this situation. Because I can't defend that at all. He was trying to say if you do anything for 400 years, over and over again, it's a choice. But I'm that is the worst possible way to say that mental slavery was a choice.
Right.
It was that did not make sense at all.
So as far as that one goes, because that one I can understand where he's coming from. I understand what he's trying to say. The execution of said statement did not go well.
Oh no,
it was the way that he said it is the problem. I understand what he's trying to say in the sense of that if you at that point you're letting this happen to yourself.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to say, right? He's saying if you haven't done something by this point, that's on you for not taking action.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure I totally agree with in that sense of slavery, because I don't think they had much of a choice.
No, but
I think it's do this or die.
Yeah,
right.
That was it. But it was also I gained a better perspective on it when I saw a picture of a slave master, and there was just rows of slaves, and then one slave they're all sitting down obeying to him. One slave stood up and then 5 stood up, and then they all stood up, and they like destroyed the master.
Right. When you think about it in a sense of, well, we definitely outnumbered them, right? It's like, yeah, you could have taken over.
Yes.
But it's...
I do not know much about slavery, but I understand.
I know enough that it's bad.
Yeah, I know it's bad, and I understand why they did, because the masters are inflicting fear into the slaves.
Right. It's not literally about being able to physically contain someone. It's the mental barrier. Like people who get kidnapped, and if you kidnap for long enough, your captor starts giving you more and more freedom. Right? Okay, you can come out of the basement and sit on the couch. Don't go anywhere else though, or I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And you will believe that with your whole fucking heart.
There we go.
That's the difference.
That's what I completely believe. Like,
and
that's
at that
what I was
point,
trying to say.
it's not like all slaves weren't shackled and chained. That's not
slaves in the house too. Like
right. But it's all about what you're able to do. Mentally.
Yeah.
Which I wish that he had said it better.
That's what he was trying to say.
Wanted to be more clear.
Literally, I think the worst complete way possible.
Literally, I don't think it could have gone worse.
No, it was literally just chaos.
It was so bad.
When he said that, it was when, obviously, like the whole when that was going on, he was going through a mental health crisis. So
right, which I also understand, and I think that people should be giving him slack, but I think that he needs to take responsibility for that a little bit too.
But he deleted all the
tweets.
He deleted the magnets. He deleted the hat. He deleted the signed magazine. He deleted all those. And so he's like, hey, which
I think speaks louder than people realize it does.
Oh, yeah.
To go through. That's like, you have a mental breakdown. You post on Insta. Oh my God, life is so terrible. Blah 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 blah. You wake up the next morning and you're fine, and you delete the post.
Yeah.
But it's growth. That's what that is. It's him being able to realize, like, oh, that wasn't a great thing to say.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get rid of that one. Right. And I think it's more important that people realize that it is.
That's definitely what it is. And at the same time, I'm like, he should delete those tweets and then afterwards been like, hey, that's not what I meant. Like, here's what I meant. But
I think everybody needs an explanation. Which is what I wanted this to be. Because like it's not as fucking fiery and going
chaotic as it is. Yeah.
But I think that people, if you still talk about Kanye, a lot of people will be like, oh my God, you support Kanye after what he said. But because there hasn't been a, well, actually.
Well, yeah. Like
unless
I'll show them this podcast.
Right. But unless you're somebody who's like you and you're like, okay, there has to be a reason for this. Instead of most people who go, okay, well, Kanye likes Trump.
Yeah. Bye. I was like, I have the album tattooed on me. I can't do anything about it. I'm like,
So do you think that you dig for the explanation because you want it to not be that? Or do you dig for the explanation because you know that it's not that? Because there's a difference of being like, oh, I love Kanye with my whole heart. That can't be true.
I'm digging for that explanation because I know that it's not that. I know that
you're not
slavery was a choice. Yeah, I know that he doesn't want to build a wall because I've done way too much research on a human being.
Way too much
time to just give up all of a sudden. Be like, oh, he supports Trump. All right,
I'm out. Right,
just like rip that off. Because at the same time, he has done so much for me, and I relate to him so much. That's why I feel the need to defend him.
Do you feel like you owe him like the time of day to be like to do your research to prove that that's not what it is? Yeah. So like for what he's done for you, right? Obviously a big impact in your life. Do you feel like you owe him that you owe him in the sense that you should be telling people, oh, that's not what he meant? Or is it that you genuinely feel like he doesn't deserve the slander? Do you know what I mean? Is it because he's done so much for you that you will do what you have to do to find a way to support him and like get him through? Is that
right? That's it. Because it's like you're like if I slandered one of your role models with just some misconstrued facts, you would be like, actually, no, that's not.
Actually, fuck you. Here's what's up.
Yeah,
right? And I understand that. And like I get that, but there's just some like this was a choice thing. I feel like there's a point that you cross. Oh God. There's a point that you cross where you think that it's wrong for people to assume to where you'll do whatever it takes to defend Kanye. Kind of like, you know what I mean? Where he could say something just awful. Like Holocaust wasn't so bad.
Yeah,
right.
And I have like I have the self-awareness. Yeah, I'm like how like I have the self-awareness to be like, no, he is wrong. Like when he says that, I know like when he is wrong, but at the same time, I know him so much as a person that I know that like, okay, he's not like. If he straight up said the Holocaust didn't happen, I'll be like, no, like I can't.
I got nothing for
like,
this.
Yeah, I was like, there's no amount of information. I'm like, Kanye, you're wrong. Like I am smart enough to say that.
But you're not like, I mean, but so like that's important for you to be like, able to be like, if something that bad like or if he said something just beyond belief, that you could still be like, okay, that's fucked up. Yeah. Instead of like doing incredible amounts of
like tiny little fact where he's like, he actually said, if you listen between the words in the interview, he said, wasn't that bad? Like I can't defend that.
Right. But
like,
so there is a limit.
I know when to be like, Kanye, you're wrong.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's important because I think what a lot of people will assume is like when you tweet something defending Kanye, right? After Kanye says whatever he says, and you're like, don't assume this about Kanye, blah blah blah. I think people will assume that it's because you're a Kanye stan. Like that's it's like your duty to defend.
I'm a human too. I know that like there are stuff that he has said that's been wrong in the past, obviously. Obviously. Yeah.
But instead of people going like, oh, he's just looking for a way to make Kanye look good, it's actually because that you're like, no, okay, if you guys knew
this man is like, I use this word loosely sometimes, but he is a genius, like music-wise, yeah.
Maybe
and, like,
real world, not so much.
Real world, I was like, he could still like use some like he's on the same where Donald Trump's not a politician, like he wasn't a politician before, and I really feel like we shouldn't put like people who aren't politicians into politics,
right?
Like because there's a level
that's not their place in the world.
There's like and yeah, you can study politics and that will like change your view. Like one of my friends, Hannah, she's majoring in politics right now, and she knows like I trust her when it comes to facts because she's
done her research. What I know about politics has mostly came from like social media, where it is so like just changed and warped throughout people, but like she does her research and she goes and talks to politicians and gets the real information from them, and that's why I respect her on everything she says. Right. And like I'll question her if there's something that just sounds absurd and be like, why do you like think this? And she'll explain. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I think in the same sense then, as she knows politics, I think you know this.
Yes.
Right? But if you tweet something defending Kanye, I think that people should recognize that as something that is it's not there to just defend Kanye, it's there because it's supposed to be fact.
Yes.
Is what you're tweeting. It's not just you being like, well, maybe he meant this instead.
No. If Kanye tweets the Holocaust never happened, I'll be like, nope, he's wrong. Like, I know when to like,
you know where to
border off the dick riding and be like, no, dude. Like,
I know when to hop off.
Yeah, I know when to hop off.
That the Holocaust wasn't real was, I'm gonna come, and then you're okay.
I'm like, just leave.
Hold these back
like,
up.
Nope, it's not happening. But yeah,
right. Okay, so, and I think that's important is that people know that
I'm not
you're not just doing it because
defend him to my death. Like to what I'm not gonna like. If he's like, oh, Payman, kill yourself. I'm like, yeah, of course. No, I know. If he did, I'd be like, sure. But
maybe not that example, because I probably would do that if Kanye told me to kill myself. What am I supposed to say? No? Fuck.
Kanye told me. But I do know when to...
If Kanye told you to jump off a bridge, would you?
Hell yeah.
Fucking duh. What am I supposed to say? No?
Duh. No, Kanye. But yeah, I do know when to back off.
Okay. I just think that it's important that people know that. Because I just don't want it to seem like you're, like... What's the fucking word? Like, just grasping out of thin air to try and pull answers out to be like, it's this and this.
I'm defending him when I need to.
When you feel it's necessary, when you know that that's not what it's supposed to be.
When I can.
Right. Yeah. When it's appropriate. Okay. But again, important. I think that it's important that people know that it's not because you're riding dick. It's because you genuinely are like, that's not...
because I know him as a person. Yeah. Right. We've just been repeating the same things for the last 5 minutes.
I know, but it's so...
And, like...
It's so interesting.
He's also following, like... A lot of, like, Trump supporters are, like, obviously pro-gun. And, like, they have shamed the like the kids who were shot in the school shootings.
Yeah, which is just so
fucked up. Kanye like follows like I think Emma, I forgot her last name, but one of the girls who was in there who was actively
the Parkland
shooting.
Yeah.
They follow her name, and they like
Emma whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Comment below. And he like follows her, and he's even like tweeted like Emma is my role model, and that pissed off so many Trump supporters.
Well, didn't piss off her?
No.
I thought that there was a tweet. I thought that he tweeted that, and she tweeted something like,
"I may be wrong.
I'm not your role model.
I may be wrong.
You said some fucked up shit. I don't agree with you at all. Blah blah blah."
I may be wrong because I haven't looked into it, but at the same time, I'm like, yes, like because she is a girl, like small girl with a big voice, just like Kanye. He's like. Kanye's a small girl with a big voice. No, Kanye has a big voice.
Kanye, little bitch.
Little bitch. Like this girl has the power to like talk to thousands of people.
Right. She has the influence.
Kanye. Yeah.
He has the influence.
like Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, like Emma the girl. They are all people who have a huge platform to speak into.
Right.
That's why. And like she's like, oh, it's my role model. And like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. The way that he thinks is interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to literally dissect. I'm like, he's like learning more from his childhood. I'm like, okay, I see why. Like he said that, and it all connects. But yeah.
Well, okay. Well, in wrap up, Frank Ocean, huge impact in your life. Obviously, will continue to be.
Yes, because he hasn't done much wrong.
Right, Frank Ocean.
He doesn't tweet. He doesn't tweet. He posts on Tumblr.
He doesn't do nothing.
He posts on Tumblr maybe once every 3 months, and he gives us literally what we need. And
he gives you what you need to survive.
What you need to survive, and I'm like, okay, my like unproblematic fave.
Right.
And then Kanye, I'm like, it's a lot harder.
Complicated.
It's a lot harder, but I'm still like, I'm gonna defend.
Still committed though.
Yeah, still committed.
Right. So let's talk about that. Kanye's albums, the difference in sounds and the difference in meaning.
We have so Yeezus is my favorite album, and I am immensely excited for Yandi, which is his next album coming on the 29th of this month.
That's soon, that's in a few days.
Yeah, that's less than 10 days. And as soon as you saw that tweet, I tweeted, I'm like, Yeezus is my favorite album. If like the possibility of there being another Yeezus gives me such immense amounts of joy. Because like Yeezus helped me form who I am, and I've heard little snippets of what the album sounds like. It sounds exactly like Yeezus, which I'm so happy.
Exciting.
Yeah, and I'm like so happy for me. And then there's kind of been some rumors going around on the Frank subreddit that he's gonna drop an album possibly tomorrow. And that's wild. But let me explain. So on the last song on the album,
a minute and 30 seconds.
Last song on the album is called Futura Free, and it's 9 minutes and 24 seconds long. And the very last line on the no, everyone's face is on that. The very last line on the album says, "How long is a light year?" And it's repeated twice. He says, "How long is a light year? How long is a light year?" And those are the last lines in the entire album. And so we did our research. And light year is something like 9,024,000 like kilometers long.
Right.
So we're literally like the murderers. We're like the detectives like tying red strings to each thing. like what this?
That is a picture of Frank's stance right there. He's standing in front of a board going, what does it mean?
He is most likely not gonna drop anything tomorrow. But at the same time, I'll be like,
crazy would that be?
I was right.
Right.
But at the same time, like earlier this year, he posted like if you love
a little bit of time.
Yeah, if you love 2017, you'll love 2018, and he has only released 1 song and like 2 features. Mm-hmm. So we're like, where's it at? You gotta have something. Like, come on.
Don't fuck with me.
No performances. No, like. We just want something.
Right, or he's just not going to release something for another light year.
Yeah.
Just fuck you.
That's, was just supposed to be. Wait, well, you want to do the outro?
Yes, anyway, thank you guys for listening. If you listened all the way through, I really appreciate it. I won't tell you to like and subscribe. I don't care. I do this for me. If you liked it, then like and subscribe. That's fine. Whatever. Thank you so much for driving your ass out here to do a podcast with me.
Of course, this is very fun.
Thank you for being informed, and it's a perspective that I haven't gotten, and I think it was just interesting to talk to somebody who knows so much instead of somebody who's like, oh yeah, Frank Ocean's pretty good, right?
Yeah, just
it's so in depth.
I'm a hearer.
Exactly. And so thank you for coming out. That was great. All of Payman's social media shit will be linked. Some Frank Ocean stuff will be linked. The live stream I'll link. Yeah. You can go watch that. All my stuff is linked as usual. Give me money on Patreon. I would really appreciate it. I don't want to keep working my job. I want to do this. So thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Whatever. Go fuck yourself. Oh god damn.
Holy fuck, that was fun.
I know, it's so much
I
fun.
love that.